Now let's return back to the original question that I showed you earlier on, and hopefully you have the PDF in front of you so you can follow. Or just pause on the video screen at any time if you want to catch up on any information. So the 7 options that were given to us, we are now going to highlight the cohesive features in them. We now know which cohesive features to look for based on the instructions I've just given you. So if we look at the first sentence, A, or the first option A, here we have nevertheless. This is a linker showing contrast. So we know this sentence is going to be in contrast to the sentence before it. Also vocabulary within the context we have to look at. So here we've got a negative not. We have to be aware of this. And mirror the role of the traditional sports trainer too closely. This is the vocab that is most probably going to be in contrast to the sentence before. The next option B, again, we've got another linker, consequently. So yeah, this is a result of the sentence before, and we've got a pronoun it. So what does it represent? It must be mentioned in the sentence or the text before. Our next option is C. Here we've got the vocab word or words no different. Okay, so immediately we ask ourselves, no different to what? And we have to search the vocab before this to see what it is no different to. Here in D, we've got our determiner, this means. So what does it mean? It must be mentioned in the sentences before. And remember, we can substitute this to make sure it makes sense, as I showed you before. Individual, so this is similar to a pronoun. There must be a name of an individual mentioned in the text before. And we've got another pronoun here, them. Who does them represent? If we look at E, again, another determiner, the circumstances. So the circumstances they're talking about must be mentioned in the sentences before, so we need to find these. And again, another pronoun, it. What does it represent? The next one is F, one such firm. So there must be a mention of a firm. They most probably won't mention the word firm in the text before. So remember our synonyms that we did from part 1? A synonym for firm could be company, enterprise. So maybe look for a word like this. Again, we've got they, a pronoun. What does they represent? Okay, if we find out what they represent, then it's easy for us to find the answer. The last one, G, I've highlighted it. But G is never an option because it's used as the example. I'll give you more information about this later. Now, let's return to the text. And as you can see on the text here, I've highlighted in blue the words and the cohesive features that are connected to the options. So if you read through that, you can pause because I'm going to go on to the next screen. So please pause, have a look at these words. And on the next page, I'm going to go into more detail on how we get the answer based on these highlighted blue words. We'll go into a lot of detail on this. So if you want to read the text, just pause or have a look at the download if you have that in front of you. So having identified the cohesive features in the options A to G, as well as in the sentences in the text, these sentences being before the gap and after the gap, we can now look at the answers. So the example is always G in the exam. So you can cross this out straight away. Okay? It is not needed. However, I've just shown you just as a warm-up how G fits in, because if you looked at the option G, we have it as a pronoun, and it here refers to no support from the coach. But as I said before, always cross this out. It is not needed for the exam. So let's have a look at the first answer, number 8, and this is C. we highlighted the word no different, and no different here means a sports coach is no different to a sports advisor that is mentioned in the text. Also, we had the word often operating. Often operating here refers to the business coach or the advisor operating in this context, meaning teaching or coaching. So vocab within context helps us get the answer as well. If we look at number 9, the answer here is E. So we had a determiner, these circumstances, and we had a pronoun it. It refers to organization is under stress, and these circumstances refers to the staff are fearful and fighting against change. So that's why circumstances is in the plural here, because of fearful and fighting. The next answer, number 10, the answer here is F. And here we highlighted, I'll just go through the text. One such firm refers to one of the consultancies and 70% growth over 2 years. This refers to the highlighted words in the text, make leaps in performance. So again here, vocab and context helps us get the answer. The next answer, number 11, here the answer was D. Again, we have a determiner, this means, and in this case, this means refers to in the text, the emphasis is moving from the manager or executive to the needs of the company. Also, we had pronouns to help us here. We had individual and them, and these pronouns refer to the manager or the executive, either as an individual or together. We refer to them as them. The next answer to number 12 was A. Here we had nevertheless, which we identified as a linker. Nevertheless is a linker showing contrast, so it's going to be in contrast to the sentence before. Also, we identified not. So here, nevertheless and not means the sentence before the gap is in contrast or positive in meaning to this sentence in the text. And here we have managers wear sweatshirts with the logo coaching staff on them. So hopefully this helps you. I've just gone into slight detail on how these cohesive features can help you find the answer. You most probably, if you read the text in a bit more detail, you would notice there are a couple of other linkers that we haven't identified that can also help you get the answer. So please pause, study it in detail, look back at the text, get a really good feeling for those cohesive features because they will really help you in part 2 of the exam.